What if a single moment of kindness could change not just one life, but an entire community? This is the inspiring true story of Ella, a waitress with a compassionate heart who turned a simple gesture for a struggling man into a movement that touched countless lives. Introduction: a small cafe on a chilly morning. The morning rush at the cafe was in full swing. The clinking of coffee mugs, the hum of conversation, and the occasional hiss of the espresso machine created a symphony of activity. The warm aroma of freshly brewed coffee and baked goods made the little cafe a cozy escape from the bitter cold outside. Ella, a kind-hearted waitress with an easy smile, moved between tables with practiced grace. Known for her warmth and attention to everyone she served, Ella was more than just a waitress. She was the heart of the cafe. Her regulars adored her, and even the grumpiest customers couldn't help but smile when she came by. But that morning, Ella's attention was drawn to something outside the window. A man sitting on the curb, shivering. His clothes were threadbare, his eyes hollow, and his shoulders hunched against the biting wind. Ella's kindness sparks change. Ella's heart ached as she watched the man. His pain was evident, and she couldn't ignore it. Despite the cafe's strict policy against giving food away for free, she quietly prepared a hot plate of scrambled eggs, toast, and bacon, along with a steaming cup of coffee. Balancing the tray, Ella stepped outside and approached the man. "Hi," she said softly, her breath visible in the frosty air. "I thought you might like something warm to eat." The man hesitated, his hands trembling as he stared at the food. I don't have any money," he murmured, his voice hoarse with shame. "You don't need any," Ella replied, offering him a gentle smile. "It's on the house." Tears welled up in the man's eyes as he took the plate. "Why would you do this for me?" he asked quietly. "Because everyone deserves kindness," Ella said simply. "What's your name?" "Matthew," he said after a moment, his voice breaking. "I used to be someone, you know. I served in the army. But after I came back, I lost everything. The nightmares, everything just fell apart. My family, my job, they're gone. And now, I'm here." Ella sat beside him on the curb, listening with compassion. She didn't interrupt, didn't offer empty platitudes. Instead, she gave him the one thing he had been missing for so long. Someone who saw him as a person, not just a problem. "You're still someone," Ella said firmly. "You've been through so much, but you're not alone. There's always hope, Matthew. Always." The conflict, kindness meets resistance. Inside the cafe, the owner, Mr. Blake, watched the interaction from his office. To him, Ella's gesture wasn't an act of kindness. It was a violation of policy. As Ella returned to the cafe, her tray now empty, Mr. Blake stormed out of his office, his face red with anger. "Ella," he barked, his voice cutting through the chatter. "What do you think you're doing?" Ella turned, startled by his tone. I was helping someone who needed it," she said, her voice steady but cautious. "Helping someone?" Mr. Blake scoffed. "You gave away food that he didn't pay for. Do you know how much that costs? This is a business, not a charity." "It was one plate," Ella said, her cheeks flushed with embarrassment, but her resolve unshaken. "He was hungry. I couldn't just ignore him." Mr. Blake shook his head. "You've embarrassed this cafe in front of our customers. You're fired." The cafe fell silent as all eyes turned to Ella. She felt her chest tighten, but she refused to back down. "If showing kindness is something to be ashamed of, then I don't want to work here," Ella said firmly. She untied her apron, placed it on the counter, and walked out with her head held high. The turning point, an unexpected ally. Ella sat on a bench outside, trying to process what had just happened. The wind bit at her cheeks, but the sting of humiliation hurt even more. As she sat there, lost in thought, a sleek black car pulled up in front of the cafe. The door opened, and a man in a tailored coat stepped out. He walked over to Ella and sat beside her. "Are you Ella?" he asked gently. Ella nodded, unsure of who he was. "I'm Mayor Carter," he said with a warm smile. "I heard what happened, and I want you to know, what you did was nothing short of heroic." Ella's eyes widened. "Heroic? But I just lost my job." "Sometimes doing the right thing comes at a cost," Mayor Carter said. But people like you, who lead with their hearts, are exactly what this community needs. He handed her a card. There's a nonprofit organization that helps veterans and the homeless. They're looking for someone with compassion and courage. I'd be honored to recommend you. Ella stared at the card, tears welling up in her eyes. Thank you, she whispered. This means so much to me. The ripple effect. Kindness goes viral. The mayor shared Ella's story on social media, calling on the community to support her cause. The post went viral, inspiring an outpouring of support. Donations flooded local shelters. Volunteers signed up to help the homeless. Businesses partnered with nonprofits to create job opportunities for people like Matthew. With the nonprofits' help, Matthew received therapy, housing, and a chance to rebuild his life. He even found work at a community center, helping other veterans who were struggling. Ella, meanwhile, found a new sense of purpose in her role with the nonprofit. Her days were filled with acts of kindness, and she saw firsthand how even the smallest gestures could create waves of change. Ella's story reminds us of the power of kindness, the narrator says. Even the smallest act, a warm meal, a listening ear, can transform lives in ways we never imagined. Kindness isn't just an act, it's a movement that starts with each of us. If Ella's story inspired you, please like and share this video to spread her message. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more uplifting stories. Together, we can make the world a kinder place, one act at a time.